All right, guys, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing good. You know what? Today, instead of using the PowerPoint sort of format that I've been using the last few times, I thought that I would just speak directly into the camera because I feel like it's been a while since you guys have seen my beautiful face, and you guys may have been missing me for a little while. So, today is a bit of a different presentation that I want to give. Have you guys ever had a day where just things weren't going the way that you wanted them to? Things were going the opposite of the way that you wanted them to. It seemed like sort of everything was going wrong right from the beginning of the day. So that's the type of day that I've kind of had. It started off with me basically waking up at 1:30 in the morning and not being able to go back to sleep. Okay? So, usually I wake up at around 5, but I woke up at 1:30, and what I did is have a glass of water, and then I went and checked my Forex positions, because the Forex market trades 24 hours a day. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a professional Forex trader. I love trading the Forex markets. Forex markets trade 24 hours a day. 1:30 in the morning, the European markets as well as the Asian markets are open. So I went and checked my positions. Oh no, my positions are down a little bit. Okay, they're showing a bit of a paper loss. That immediately sort of puts me in a bad mood. There was no reason for me to check my positions anyway, because the truth is I wouldn't have actually done anything to change them. So just checking my positions was a waste of effort. All it did was change my mood a little bit. So, I was already a little bit groggy from, being up. That kind of put me in a bad mood. Then I tried to go back to sleep. Okay? Couldn't go back to sleep. I'm tossing and turning. Finally, I'm able to go to sleep at around 5 in the morning. That's usually when I wake up. So now I'm waking up. I'm basically almost crawling out of bed, 20, 30 minutes before I have to be at my first appointment. So I miss my morning routine. Okay? Whenever I miss my morning routine, it's like, oh no, that's not a good sign for the day because I'm so used to executing on some sort of a morning routine. Then I get a couple of emails. One is from a client, who's a little bit concerned about a program that I'm trying to put into place for him. That kind of puts, that project that I've been working on, slightly up in the air for me. I don't like uncertainty. Then I get another email from a social platform that I'm working on telling me that, my account's been disabled and that, if I want to review it, that it's going to take weeks for me to get the review reassessed. And then, I started working, on my sales job, and I had a bit of a slow day. So just right off the bat, everything was kind of going the opposite of the way that it was supposed to be for me. And so I started to, kind of feel that adversity. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about dealing with adversity, okay? So how can we handle adversity from a psychological standpoint? That's what I want to talk about. What is a way for us, because adversity is something that is inevitable. In life, there's going to be periods of time where we have to deal with adversity. And so how is it that we look at adversity in the first place? And how can we look at adversity in a way that is actually, beneficial to us? And what sort of strategies can we deploy when we start to get sort of negative? When we start to have those negative feelings, what kind of strategies can we deploy to try and reframe our mindset, and change our state of mind? Because I'm a big believer in, always being aware of the state of mind that you're in and changing the state of mind so that you're in a state of mind that's beneficial for you. Okay? And then eventually, I want to literally talk about what are the benefits that we can actually have when we're forced to deal with adversity the way that I've sort of dealt with adversity today. Okay? So I'm going to get into it. But just quickly, a little bit about myself. In my life, I've dealt with a lot of adversity. Okay? I've failed many, many times, in a lot of different things. I used to play chess a lot. I used to love to play chess, but I get my ass handed to me sometimes when I play chess. I would get crushed by people sometimes when I play chess. And my ego or whatever would get annihilated, because chess is totally in your control. And when you lose, it's like you lost intellectually to somebody, you know? And so, like, but I never took it like that. You know, I was the type of person that was never scared to lose. I used to play squash. You know, I played competitive squash for the Vancouver Rackets Club, you know, in an inter-city league, you know, and I won a lot of matches, you know, but I also lost a lot of matches. But that didn't make me quit playing squash, you know? And the same thing has happened to me in many different fields of my life, you know, in business, in my employment, in the educational spheres of my life. I've faced fear, you know, I've faced failure, you know, and I've had to deal with adversity. And in the past, you know, one of the reasons why I believe that, you know, I haven't attained all the goals that I had set for myself up to this point. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd already be a billionaire by now. But one of the reasons why I feel that that hasn't been the case is because in the past, you know, I wasn't mature enough to recognize that when the adversity comes, what the best way for me to respond is. In the past, when adversity would come, I would shy away from it, you know? And I think that that's what was one of the major lessons that I'm learning in life, is rather than shying away from it, how I can lean into it. And so that's one of the things that I want to talk about as well. All right, so building an unshakable character, right? Brian Tracy once said that character building is the great business of life, right? And, you know, a gentleman by the name of Jim Rohn, who's also a motivational speaker, you know, deceased now, but a tremendous individual and a tremendous personal development guy, would also agree with that, because he had a famous quote that was that success is something that you attract by the type of person that you become. Success is something that you attract by the type of person that you become. Success is not something that you attain. Success is something that you attract by becoming a successful person. So wisdom, you know, is different from character. See, wisdom is something that can be gained by spending time in solitude, you know, or by going through experiences, you know, whether they're your own experiences or other people's experiences, through the form of perhaps reading about them is how you can learn from other people's experiences. But character is something that is forged in the day-to-day decisions that we make, forming habits, okay? So, you know, wisdom is something we can learn, but character can only be forged by actually practicing it, you know? So it's like if you're, you know, one of those Greek, you know, artists or a Greek sculptor, and you're trying to make this masterpiece, you know, you're trying to make an Adonis or something, okay, out of a huge slab of some sort of a rock. And all that you've got is a hammer and a chisel, you know? And every time you hammer that chisel into the rock, it's slowly carving into that rock, and it's slowly turning into that shape that you want. That's what building character is like. Every time we make a decision, you know, every time we take a certain action, every time we lean in to the discomfort, we are, you know, hammering that chisel into that rock and creating a character. And eventually, once that character is that statue of the Adonis, you know, or whatever it is, that's when we, you know, are open to our destiny, basically, okay? So, as humans, right, we have a tendency to go towards the path of least resistance. This is perfectly natural, okay? And we are attracted by what's called the expediency factor, right? So the expediency factor is basically, you know, wanting to have the reward immediately, right? So we do things that give us instant gratification. You know, one of the reasons why people become addicted to drugs and things like that is because doing a drug like cocaine, for example, is going to instantly give you gratification. Cocaine is the #1 selling product in the United States, okay? So the reason why it's such a great selling product is because it takes no effort whatsoever to give you that gratification. All you have to do is do the drug and it instantly makes you feel great, you know? So that's what going towards the path of least resistance and the expediency factor is. So this is something that we have to resist if we're trying to build an unshakable character for ourselves, okay? Now, forging an unshakable character happens when we get into the habit of leaning into that which is difficult. Okay? So as I've said once before, the obstacle is the way. Okay? The obstacle is the way. Whatever you see in your path that is the difficulty that you can't get through, that's the thing that you have to go through. Tony Robbins once said that if you can't, then you must. If you can't, then you must. If there's something that you believe that you can't do, then you must overcome it, because you can't allow your mind to have that sort of limitation. Okay? Now, when adversity comes, the truth is it gives us an opportunity. Okay? It gives us an opportunity to build our character. And that's how we need to look at it. Character building is the great business of life. And the only time that we can actually build our character is when adversity comes. Okay? So we should be thankful that adversity is there. Okay? Now, why adversity gives us negative feelings is another thing that I want to talk about. So Sadhguru, in his personal development program, which comes at it from a spiritual perspective called inner engineering, he said that the extent to which we can accept something is how much we can love something. So for example, the reason I love my children is because I've accepted them 100% for who they are. You know, no matter what they are, no matter what they do, I'm going to love them because I've accepted them 100%. And so the same way, what we need to do is we need to accept the world as it is. Okay? We need to accept the world as it is 100%. Because the more we can accept the world as it is, the more we're going to be able to love the situation that we're in. You know, because the moment that we find ourselves in, this moment right now that we find ourselves in, this moment is inevitable. This moment cannot be changed. You know, when the future comes, it's going to be this moment. And when the past happened, it was also this moment. That's all there is this moment. And this moment can't be changed. So now that we're in this moment, we need to accept it. And if we can accept it 100%, then we will love it. You know, we will be filled with joy. Because the universe is exactly how it is meant to be. Now, we don't have control over the universe, but what we do have control over is how it is that we respond to what happens to us. Okay? In fact, the only thing that we have control over is our inner self. So what we should do is we should focus on that, because that's where we can make a difference. You know, exercising this control is what building character actually, you know, equates to. You know, choosing to be responsible, you know, for your mindset, choosing to be responsible for how you feel and responsible for how it is that you respond to the things that life throws at you is building character. Now, Epictetus was a great Stoic philosopher, and he wrote a book called The Manual. Okay? In this book, he talked about this concept, and he called it the dichotomy of control. Now, he believed that we should not waste our energy worrying or having negative emotions about the things that we cannot control. And it makes total sense, because if you're worrying about things that you can't control, you're just wasting your energy. Why do that? You know, you're wasting your energy, right? Or we're wasting our energy. We're worrying about things that we can't make a difference about. We would be much better served if we were to worry and spend time on things that we can actually make a difference about, which is ourselves. Okay, so then why are we facing adversity? You know, why is adversity coming into our path, right? So, you know, many of us have set lofty goals, okay? And we may have set these goals, whatever they may be, you know, they may be success related, career related, relationship related, whatever they are, okay? But in order for us to achieve these lofty goals that we've set for ourselves, we need to be a certain type of person. If we were already that type of person, we would have already achieved that goal, okay? So the goals that we've set for ourselves are lofty, but we're over here. And in order for those goals to be achieved, we need to bring our level up here to where those goals are, okay? So adversity is sort of like the exercises and the training that the universe kind of puts in our path to teach us the things that we have to learn to be the person that is worthy of the success that we desire. See, that's one way of looking at it, right? There's other ways of looking at it, like, I can't believe this is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that, listen, the universe has put these obstacles in my way because there's things that I have to learn to be so that I can be the person that is capable of achieving the goals that I've set for myself. You know, if you start looking at adversity like that, then you'll realize that, you know what, every time you face adversity, that's an opportunity for you to elevate yourself, elevate your game. So think about how incredibly boring life would be if all of us got what we wanted easily, if there was no adversity. You know, I'm sure it sounds great at first, but I'm telling you, we would get sick of it. Eventually, we would want a challenge. So let's just embrace the challenge already. Because when the adversity comes, the truth is we can face it with joy. We can face it with joy in our hearts. We can do almost anything in a joyful manner if we want to, okay? And the reason why we want to do it in a joyful manner is because, you know, when we're happy, when we're joyful, we're actually going to function a lot better that way, okay? So Nietzsche once said that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And that the purpose of adversity, and that basically is the purpose of adversity, I should say, is to basically get stronger. All right. Now, all we need is a little bit of faith, okay? Emerson once said that the moment man thinks of something, the whole entire universe works to make it so. And that if man thought of it, then it must exist. So in his essay called Compensation, he argued that the universe is very fair and that it compensates each man for the value that they bring to the marketplace. Okay? So what that means is that if we want to be compensated more, we have to, you know, give more value, right? What we're currently earning is equal to the value that we're bringing to the marketplace. Okay? Now, I mean, there's many different, you know, values out there, or, you know, a person's worth is many different things. I mean, you know, a person as a brother, you know, as a mother, a father, as a sister, they could be bringing a lot of value, but I'm talking about the marketplace in terms of compensation, okay? Now, here's the thing. So the universe is very fair. This is what Emerson is arguing. But the only thing is that sometimes that compensation doesn't arrive right away, okay? It's not the instant gratification that we're looking for. It's not the expediency factor, okay? So sometimes the compensation comes, but it doesn't come right away. So this is where you need faith, okay? The great law of the universe is the law of cause and effect. And in ancient times, they used to call this law the law of sowing and reaping. So just like the farmer that plants the seed doesn't understand or even know that it's going to grow into the crop that he wants or that he'll be able to harvest, he has faith in what he does. He doesn't ask himself, why does this seed become this harvest for me? You know, he just knows that it's so, and he believes every time he plants that seed that it's going to grow and that it's going to bear fruit. So just like the farmer who plants the seed, you know, with faith, so too must we plod along, believing that we will be compensated for the work that we do. Even if that compensation doesn't arrive right away. Dealing with adversity is going to be much easier for us if we have faith, if we believe. Okay? The next thing that I want to talk about is a thing that I often bring up, and this is the concept of being responsible. So, you know, I want you to start looking at responsible as being response-able. Okay? Remember that the only thing that we have control over is how it is that we respond to what happens to us. Okay? Like we've talked about. So no matter what happens, we can respond. And how we respond is entirely in our hands. It's entirely in our control. So whatever happens to us, whatever hardships we face, we can choose to face those hardships with dignity and joy. That's a choice that we can make. You know, in fact, the true mark of a mature individual is that they are able to choose, you know, how it is that they feel and be in control of their inner world. So Viktor Frankl, you know, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, was able to live through unbelievable hardship in a Nazi concentration camp by identifying a purpose in life to feel positive about and imagining that ideal outcome the whole time he was there. So, you know, in front of him, he witnessed his friends, you know, being murdered, and just people being exterminated and just unbelievable atrocities taking place around him. And many other people around him were just collapsing into despair and just totally giving up. But he was able to look at it from a different perspective. And if he is able to find purpose and live positively in an environment like a Nazi concentration camp where you don't know if you're going to even be alive tomorrow, then I'm pretty sure that we can live joyfully when a little bit of adversity is dealt to us. Okay? So, so here we go. So to conclude, right? We should be thankful for adversity, actually. We should be thanking God that he puts obstacles in our way. Because when those obstacles come into our way, those are what give us an opportunity to build our character. It allows us to practice exercising our response ability. Okay, our ability to respond. And we get an opportunity to become the person that we need to be in order to achieve the lofty goals that we have set for ourselves. So remember, no matter what situation we are in, we can accept that situation exactly as it is. The universe is exactly how it should be. And in that moment, we can choose to be joyful. And we can accept that moment as it is. The more we can accept that moment, the more we can fall in love with it. And we can fall in love with that moment, understand the situation, decide what has to be done, and then execute. Respond. Respond and start building that character. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys got something out of it. God bless you all, and I'll speak with you guys soon. Take care, and goodbye.